more Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is episode 4 of season 3, book 3, however you want to call it. I'm very glad to kind of be back in the habit of watching Avatar again. Last episode was a really nice one to return to as well. Some great kind of moments for Katara in particular, exploring, the painted lady and saving this, little village on the water. And yeah, everything with that I thought was really cool and really well done. And we're still kind of in the early points of the season, so I think they're just kind of, focusing on some more character-driven stuff, which, I'm all here for. And then as we move further and further along, I'm sure the plot-heavy stuff will pick up, and whatever happens, because, this is the final season of The Last Airbender, at least. So I am intrigued to see how they kind of end it and leave it off for, I guess, more with Korra. I think it's set after this, but it might also just be a prequel and I'm talking out my arse. I have no idea. I know even less about Korra than I did about Avatar going into this show, so it will be exciting once I kind of get there. I did get a comment because, this isn't my job anymore, so I don't have time to really do this that much. So that means I'm not going to have time to do Legend of Korra on the channel. I'll just do it at my own time. Someone did ask, maybe I could do a roundup of my thoughts at the end of each season or at the end of the entire show, which could be something I might do later on down the line. It just depends how my situation is, I guess, when we get to that point. 'Cause that's still a bit of a way off yet. But for now, though, I'm very excited to carry on and see where this season will continue to explore with, the characters and the plot and all that jazz. So, let's get into the next one.
Kinda makes you realize how insignificant we are.
Oh, that's nice.
You've seen nothing once, you've seen it 1,000 times.
Oh man, you've never not seen anything like this.
Imagine they got the timing wrong and that was the comment. I mean, this is... I thought we'd have a chill opening at least.
Keep an eye on Momo.
Oh,
I'm just a lemur sitter? There.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Better?
Oh, are they going to explore his insecurity about not having bending abilities? That's so cool.
Stand clear. Got it.
Oh.
Look at you. You're just a fat, disgusting old man.
How dare you? Oh. He's just happy in his own company.
I can't do anything.
That's not true. No one can read a map like you. I can't read at all. Yeah, and who keeps
She's
writing
right.
sarcastic comments all the time?
Each of you is so amazing and so special, and I'm not. I'm just the guy in the group who's regular.
Mood.
I know something that's gonna make you feel better.
You do? Shopping! Maybe a little something to...
I do spend money I don't have during my depression hours.
What do you think?
Oh my god.
Pretty slick, huh?
Imagine if that blade just flies away and then kills the Fire Lord. Oh, it's got a dragon on it. I want it.
That's an original from P and Dao, the greatest sword master and sword maker in Fire Nation history. He lives in the big castle up the road from here.
We've all had masters to help us get better. You should see if you can study with Piandao. That's a great idea. I could have never gotten to where I am without Master Paku.
Oh shit. He's gonna get ripped. It's like Batman Begins in here.
Sokka. That's an unusual name.
Oh, really? Where I come
He's
from,
an unusual boy.
Let me guess. You've come hundreds of miles from your little village where you're the best swordsman in town. And you think you deserve to learn from the master.
Your butler told me that when I met you, I would have to prove my worth. But the truth is, I don't know if I am worthy.
I see. Well then.
And that's interesting and different.
I will train you.
Hooray! For $2 million.
You must think of it as another part of your own body.
Like a second head.
Well, more like an extra long, really sharp arm.
I'm tapped out. I already picked my toes. Twice. Twice? The first time's for cleaning, but the second time's just for the sweet picking sensation. Sokka's been in charge of the schedule. I'm not sure what we should be doing. It's so hot. Momo is shedding like Appa. Huh?
Aw, they're realising what Sokka brings to the party.
Everyone's a critic.
I figured he had some kind of long-term plan. But I'm not sure I was expecting Batman training.
You are getting ink on your face.
I am. So this is about putting my identity on the page, right?
Oh, God. Okay. Damn.
Now paint it.
I want him to just smack his face on it again.
You added a rainbow.
Is that okay?
Aw. He said that so innocently. Yes. Sip the tea. It's piping hot. Speaking of tea, this guy loves tea. Not this guy. I guess. This guy.
What's going on in there?
He's making them all think he's lost it.
I miss Sokka. Oh, I got one. If you miss him so much, why don't you marry him?
You mess things up in a very special way.
Aw.
Ready for a real sword.
Are you giving me one of yours?
No.
Bitch,
Your
please.
sword must be an extension of yourself. You will make your own sword.
It's like choosing a kyber crystal.
Would it be possible for me to leave and bring back a special material for my sword?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Sokka! We missed you so much. Say something funny.
Funny how?
They missed you or something. I didn't care.
Aww. Oh. It all comes together. You ruined my path. I like that Sokka could have a thing while discovering he's always had a thing.
It wasn't your skills that impressed me. No, it certainly wasn't your skills.
Aw.
You showed something beyond that. Creativity,
Ooh,
versatility,
nice.
intelligence.
You're wrong. I am not worthy. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not from the Fire Nation. I'm
Oh,
from
shit,
Sokka
okay.
tribe. I'm sorry.
I wonder if you knew that.
I'm sorry too.
Oh dear.
Now look at you.
Oh, please kick his ass.
Look what you've become.
Oh my god. What the hell? Well, if he wins this, maybe he will feel like he's now worthy.
Good use of terrain, falling from the high ground.
It's over, Anakin. Nice.
Yes. Use your surroundings. Make them fight for you.
I like that he's still teaching him. My face. Oh. Oh dear.
Excellent work, Sokka.
cool.
I think I'm a little old to be fighting the Avatar.
Oh
How did
shit.
you know?
Oh, I've been around a while. Of course, I knew from the beginning that Sokka was Water Tribe.
I thought
I
so.
gotta think of a better Fire Nation cover name. Try Lee. There's a million Lees. The way of the sword doesn't belong to any one nation. Knowledge of the arts belongs to us all.
Oh, I like that idea.
If you stay on this path, I know that one day you will become an even greater master than I am.
Oh.
The master wanted you to have this as something to remember him by.
Explosive powder that kills you all.
It's a pie showtime.
White Lotus.
I thought you might like this, since you probably never had a chance to bend Space Earth before.
Sweet!
Oh, that's cool.
If it's from space, then it's not really Earth.
Must you ruin everything?
And yet, she can bend it.
If I missed you.
Okay, that was a great episode. Really enjoyed that one. Obviously, it helps when Sokka is like the focus, because we all know how much I love Sokka. And particularly the kind of arc he goes through in this one, and I guess the struggles he was having. I think they've kind of alluded to, or just explored in the past, the fact that Sokka's quite insecure about, him being the only member of the group who doesn't have any sort of like ability in terms of like, bending and like powers and stuff. That's often been, I think, a bit of a sore spot for him. So he thinks he doesn't really bring much to the team. And I guess it's one of those things like that bit with the meteor at the start of the episode where he just kind of has to sit it out, look after Momo, which is still an important job. While everyone else is kind of sorting out the mess and cleaning it up and, saving a whole ass town. There's going to be so many more situations where he was useful and did help out in, times of crisis. But the odd kind of occasion where he just has to sit it out and watch everyone else do it, those are the ones he's going to remember. Those are the ones you do remember. The times where you were maybe a bit more useless. And you kind of forget the many, many, many more times where you were useful and important. So that felt like a very realistic thing. And the fact that Sokka felt he wasn't worthy, he wasn't good enough, didn't bring anything to the team, was just a bit useless. I've kind of found recently, since this kind of all stopped, basically, and this, no longer was feasibly, something I could do as a job, I've kind of struggled to find jobs. And it's kind of, it has got me thinking, like, I'm not good at anything. There's nothing I'm good at that pays very well. So to see, just as I'm still, very much feeling like that, and I'm still in the middle of, a very, very turbulent time in my life, a very unsure time financially, job-wise, etc. To be going through all that, and that's one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to get back to the show. And then when I do, we have an episode where Sokka's going through that kind of similar crisis. Very timely, very like, oh, I see what you're doing there, Avatar. It finds a way, It was almost like I was meant to wait until I was experiencing what Sokka was going through when I then watched this episode, which is interesting. But I think that meant I really, really connected to that side of the story, more so than I might have done a year and a half ago. So I found that really interesting, and I loved that Sokka kind of found a thing for himself, and then, with making the sword and everything, but still didn't feel like he deserved it, because in his eyes, it was a lie that got him this sword. But little did he know, like, his master actually just knew what he was about from the off, which I did like. So he, when he was saying Sokka's worthy and stuff, he was genuinely meaning it, even though he's like, you've been lying to me this entire time, but you are worthy of this sword we've made. And all, and the fact that he was like, it certainly wasn't your skill. That was a really great line delivery. So I like that he kind of did find a thing, and by the end felt like he earned it, because he was deemed worthy from the eyes of his master, even after all the truth was out there about why he was there in the first place. But alongside that, when we did cut back to the others who were just kind of waiting around not doing anything, they were kind of useless without Sokka, because they didn't have anything to do. They didn't have anyone to roll their eyes at or anything like that, someone to laugh at. So I love that they were kind of realising, and us as the audience were being shown what Sokka does bring to the group and always has. So he's always been a super valuable member. I mean, hell, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks Sokka's their favourite character. And, you know, amongst all these, like, super-powered individuals who can do all these cool bending tricks, and a lot of the stuff they were doing to, like, stop the meteor at the start was amazing. It's so cool. And like, I could watch that for days. But there's so many of us who still, you know, find Sokka to be their favourite character. And he's the one without the powers, you know. So that is testament to he must bring something, because people love Sokka. And just the idea of him kind of going through a learning process, and, you know, the big kind of plot of the show really is Aang learning to master his skills and, you know, going through his own kind of training. But I do like that along the way the others have kind of gone through similar things, like Sokka with this one. This actually reminded me a lot of the Warriors of Kyoshi episode in Season 1, where I think Sokka kind of went through a bit of a learning curve and a bit of an experience as well. And I think they kind of had a similar ideal. And, you know, I mean, I've kind of heard it said everywhere, you know, think of like a weapon as an extension of your body, like an extra limb, like a longer limb. I have kind of heard that idea thrown around before. And I think that's how Kyoshi, the Warriors of Kyoshi, talked about like their fans and stuff. So I like that, you know, it's a very similar practice, I guess, along different styles of fighting, not only in, you know, the world of Avatar, but our world as well. So I like that consistency. And I can't remember the name of Sokka's master, but his attitude to being like, you know, everyone's worthy to learning, you know, this kind of way of fighting, this style of fighting, you know, the way of the sword and stuff. I like that he wasn't just, you know, this is only Fire Nation can learn like this, you know, it's open to everyone. Everyone has a right to know that. I really like that. And again, just kind of brings some complexity to, you know, the Fire Nation as a whole, even though for the most part, you know, the Fire Nation characters are the villains of the show. I do like that so many of them are just really nice, kind people who probably could do without, you know, the Fire Lord around, without Zuko around, certainly without Azula around, that bitch. And I think this is just probably a one episode character, this master guy, and yet he was incredibly complex in like a 23-minute episode. The fact that he knew right from the off, still was training Sokka, still saw something in Sokka, because, you know, if someone comes to you and says, please teach me, I know everything, I'm great, of course they're going to be like, well, what am I going to offer you then? You know, it's people like that trying to sell themselves, I guess, too much by being like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this. You know, that's making the master feel useless. I'm like, well, you don't need me then, do you? So the fact that Sokka appeared being like, I have so much to learn, I need to learn, you know, that's a purpose for the student and gives a purpose to the master to train them as well. So I like that that's what made Sokka stand out. Ironically, his honesty about that got him, you know, this training, even though he was also lying about why he was there in the first place. But the master guy also just knew right from the off, because his name was Sokka. He's like, call yourself Lee. There's loads of Lees. That was funny. So I like the many layers to that, and I guess since Sokka was honest about his heart, I guess, when they first met and when he wanted the training, he could see like, oh, okay, this boy isn't all full of bullshit then. You know, I can see that he is being honest about something. So, you know, and he understandably, you know, his reasons for not just outright saying, you know, I'm actually from the Water Tribe, so train me, please. Even though he would have said yes, not that we know that, but just the complexities and layers to come to, you know, him still training Sokka anyway. And even when that was revealed, you know, it was still just yet another training exercise then, because he knew all along. And he truly did think Sokka was worthy. And he was honest in return. He's like, you're not the most skillful person I've ever met, but because of your intelligence and your wit and, you know, your adaptability, your agility, you know, you are worthy, the most worthy of anyone I've trained. So I love that. And I love that the reason Sokka did so well in that training was because of the skills he's had all along and not because of something that he learned. Because, you know, that's the point, is that he has always had a place and he has always brought something to the group. and now he truly has an extension of that, with this cool ass sword. That's that's kind of I guess a symbol of the things he already had. Now he just has something to physically showcase something that he's always possessed, and I think that will hopefully make him feel better about himself as well. And I loved everyone else realising that and just seeing how much they missed him and helping him move the meteorite along so they can make the sword out of it. Toph's absolute refusal to admit she missed Sokka at the end there. He'll be like, they missed you, those losers. So, that little element to Toph I very much enjoyed as well. The fact that they're just one big family and I love them. So that was great. And, the running gag of them trying to make a sarcastic Sokka-esque comment and it just failing every single time. That was cool. So yeah, it was interesting to see, Sokka really front and centre, and the others could have taken a backseat for the entire episode, but what I like about Avatar is that when you maybe don't necessarily need all the characters in an episode, they still give them something, they still throw them a bone, and it is something worthwhile. They weren't throwaway scenes there, and it was still showcasing what Sokka brought to the team through his absence in those scenes, and them just kind of goofing around and seeing how the dynamic shifts without Sokka there. So it's just Aang, Toph, and Katara, how the three of them are. Because I don't think you see those three together without Sokka that often. So that was an interesting dynamic to explore as well. I really enjoyed that. So even those scenes that Sokka wasn't in were saying something about Sokka, and that's just just brilliant writing, as this show always has. And then alongside that, I guess the major thing of the episode, the plot, was Iroh. What was going on with him? I don't think he said a word in the entire episode, and yet he still has such an amazing presence. He certainly does now, am I right? So I love that as well. The fact that someone who has trained, and I guess you could say could be considered like a master of his craft, like Iroh, he's still now training. He's still kind of bouncing back. It seemed like there was just a moment. It was like, okay, time to get buff now. Time to work on himself, or maybe it's part of a long-term plan. I'm intrigued to see exactly what his state of mind is at. That's why I quite liked that I don't think we heard a word from him in this episode, apart from when he was eating the food. But him, showing again his intelligence, and also just his physical strength that he's now gained as well. He's just letting those guards think that he's just fallen so far, and he's just this kind of goofball now. A shadow of a former self, a shell of his former self. And in reality, he's there stuffing pillows up to make himself look chubbier, and he's absolutely ripped. That was amazing. That reveal shot of him just like, that's couldn't be me. I would die. I do one push-up and I die. So I'm interested to see what the thought process and what was going on in his head when he was doing that. Is this just a long-term plan? Is this just him trying to keep his mind active and trying to keep himself at his best? Does he have an escape plan in mind? Is he just trying? I guess he knows some kind of fight is coming, some kind of moment will come where he needs to step up and get out of that place, I suppose. So, he's just keeping himself maintained and trained, which is really cool. And being very clever about it, letting people underestimate him so he can, when the time is right, just fuck shit up, I would assume. So that was cool. I wasn't expecting buff Iroh when I went to check this episode out. So that was quite an interesting, that was the more traditional kind of training montage versus, Sokka's. So I like the kind of contrast between those two different training regimes in the episode. And yeah, I'm excited to see. Iroh was already kind of an unstoppable force. Now he's also an immovable object. So I'm excited to see what on earth he's going to be doing in future, and where that's all going. I'd love him to just join Team Avatar, to be honest. That'd be amazing. One can only hope. So yeah, outside of that, I'm not really sure if there's anything more to say. It's a very kind of streamlined, focused episode. It was mainly just the Sokka stuff, because even with Iroh, like I was saying, I don't think he spoke at all. So, it was kind of what you see is what you get with that story. And him, the master guy, giving him that piece, I think it's from like a game, isn't it? I remember Iroh playing that a lot. I can't remember if it symbolizes something and I just wasn't picking up on it. It seemed like that symbol is like just around and about, so I don't know if it's just going to be useful to them maybe sneaking around or proving their Fire Nation stuff, because the Master Guy was still giving Sokka tips even after the Revelation stuff. He was like, you know, call yourself Lee, there's loads of Lees, so maybe he's just giving them the tools to blend in. And again, I quite like that he's just helping them out, even though, you know, he is Fire Nation. It doesn't mean he likes the Fire Lord or he likes Zuko or Azula or anything. So, but they also didn't come outright and say that. Maybe he just thinks Sokka is worthy of this information, whether he agrees with, you know, his views on how the world should be or not. So I think that's really interesting. So yeah, that was amazing. I really enjoyed everything kind of focusing on that particular plot point. And then alongside that, we have Iroh being the absolute legend that he is. So yeah, all in all, another fantastic episode. Really enjoyed this one. Always going to like it when it's Sokka focused, and particularly, you know, kind of focusing on his insecurities and others kind of helping him through that, and him, I think, realising his own worth as well, which is a really cool character moment. I mean, even right from the off, I love that Katara was like, I hope you know we don't see you that way. We don't see you as the useless, even before the training and everything. I like that she was instantly like, that's not how it is. And obviously he's not going to believe her, because why would you? But I like that he kind of earned that for himself. And now he's a cool as fuck like black sword. That's amazing. So yeah, I really enjoyed everything with that. And Iroh's just a badass as well. We got an episode that's like focused on my favourite character and who I might even say is the best character, with Sokka and Iroh. Although Zuko as well. There's so much complexity there. There's too many good characters in the show. So yeah, it ticked all the boxes for me really, in who they were focusing on and what they were doing with the characters in this episode. And I'm so excited to see where this continues on and what they've kind of set up going forward. But yeah, great episode. Not just for Sokka but for Iroh. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it all goes. So yeah, that's going to be everything for now, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.